Guys, we finally have a patch. Oh my god, was yesterday's patch fucking awesome. If you don't know what it is, if you don't know what that entails, I'm gonna put the link down below in the description. I strongly recommend you go read it because I won't go into details here about the specifics of the patch, but rather what are the 3 things that it means for the future of Artifact. If you like Artifact content, please subscribe for more. First of all, it means that Valve is willing to change their design philosophy. And that is huge. For months, the complaints on Reddit where, oh my god, if a card is too good, Valve won't nerf it because it will tank the market price, or if a card is bad, then they won't touch it, or they wanted us to not have free packs because they don't want us to devalue the cards on the market, all that jazz. And with yesterday's patch, this is all thrown out the window. They are willing to listen, they are willing to change, and that means a lot for the future of this game. I was talking with friends that really like Artifact, and we were both chatting, and we were wondering, is Valve too stubborn? Because Valve, you know, as great of a company as they are, sometimes they are really stubborn and think that they are right, and the community necessarily isn't. Well, in this case, they were willing to not only just listen to feedback, but rather just do a complete 180 in how they think about the game and how they approach it. And I think that is awesome, because the biggest problem with the game was not the actual game itself, but rather what's around it. And the willingness to change how they view it and how they interact with the player base and with the game and the market means a lot for the long term. Secondly, not only did they nerf cards like Axe or the Gust from Drill Ranger, but they also buffed cards. This is huge. Coming from Magic and Hearthstone, where buffing card just does not exist. I mean, if a card sucks, then it's too bad, dude. Wait for the next expansion or the next year to have this version of the card, but slightly better and now playable. I think this is an old school way of thinking, and it might work for paper Magic, but now we're in a digital world, and using that to your advantage is so important. I eventually stopped playing Hearthstone because I just realized it will never be the game that I want it to be, and the game that I want is a game that is able to buff cards, nerf cards, and just really act with balance primarily, instead of, okay, what can we do so we can sell more cards next expansion. I will buy cards, don't worry. If the game is good, I will. I just enjoy it, but the game and the balance needs to come first. Also, the fact that they are buffing and nerfing heroes mean that it's kind of similar to how they treat Dota and how you treat these kind of games where you don't want heroes to be complete garbage and no one touches them. I think this is just awesome overall, that, you know, they've been called greedy a couple times, and the willingness to nerf and buff cards, I think, goes against that initial vision, because if they only wanted to make cash, then they wouldn't buff cards and they would just create more powerful versions the next set. With that, it's going to really fluctuate the market, and I think it's a good thing overall. And you know, it kind of sucks for the people that try to buy, you know, 50 axes to sell them at a higher price, but ultimately those are not the players that play your game. They play the market, and it needs to be a game first, not a market first. Not only that, but they also changed mechanics that we hated. Cheating death, go fuck yourself. It feels so good now that they actually changed it. It felt very, very, very bad playing against it, and now it's much better. I mean, I don't want to talk about the viability and if it's still a top tier card, but it feels a lot better playing against it. Like, it's not even close, because now you'll see it before it actually happens. The biggest problem was there was nowhere to tell what's going to be the outcome before clicking on attack, and that was just a really bad feeling. Same thing for Gust. It was a bit too strong. I think we all know that. The fact that it can shut down your whole lane, like, for 4 mana, like, what? I don't know what they thought, but now it's a bit weaker, and I think it's still a good card. It's a great change coming from Hearthstone. Like I said, usually when they nerf cards, they completely gut the card and you never see it again, and I hate that. Now they really try to go with incremental changes, and I think that is the biggest aspect of digital card games, is that you can do that. You know, they could have just gutted Axe completely, instead going with like a 5/1/11, and it would be really worse, because I think the 2 armor is what really makes Axe really strong. And the fact that he just remove 1 attack and 1 health is great. I think Axe is still really good. Is it as strong as it was? Obviously not. You know, it's a straight up nerf. But at least you will still see him, and it's gonna open more slots instead. You know, you will have to think a bit harder about it. I don't think you think harder about putting Drow in your deck or not. I think she's still by far the top green hero, even with that Gust change. But at least now it doesn't completely shut down your whole lane. The last point is that the future is bright. The launch was bad. We all know it. It was a mess. But the first 2 patches that they did are absolutely great patches. Like, they changed a lot of things that we asked for. They actually did in like, what, 3 weeks? I've never seen that in Hearthstone. 3 weeks. And they actually, you know, dealt with a lot of things that we wanted. Is the game perfect now? Absolutely not. There's still some key issues that I have with it, but it's much, much better than it was. And every single update that we had made the game just a tad better and a tad better. And the last one was just a lot better. So I am really hopeful for the future. They have proven, to me at least, that they can manage the game. They're in it for the long haul, and they can do great changes. And when I play a game, I don't really give a fuck if it's a great launch or not. Like, do I like the game? Yes, I do. I like Artifact a lot. And will it get better over time? And from what we've seen, it will. I hope you're as excited as I am for these changes. I will upload a new vid Sunday, I think. Yeah, Sunday, where I have my next expert fandom draft runs. I will upload the first game. I hope you enjoyed this vid. Tell me your comments about the patch down below, and I will see you Sunday.